name is Barbara Jameson. I'm Tourism Sector Head at the Convention Bureau, and I'd like to welcome you to our video series, London Loves Events. Today, we're going to be speaking to Paul Miller, who is the Managing Director of one of our most respected London-based destination management companies. And we're going to be talking all things experiences, incentives, business tourism, events. And I've worked very closely with Paul during my time as the site GB chapter president. And Paul, can I say, I think you have celebrity status in the world of incentives and motivational experiences. You are the current chair of the Site Past Presidents Council, a former site global president and a board director of the Association of Destination Management Executives. But before starting your career in destination management, your very first job could not have been in a more iconic London location, and your employer was rather an important person, I believe.
Hi, Barbara. It's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Yes, my first employer was the Queen at Buckingham Palace, so that was my very first job.
That is amazing, and I won't ask you to talk about any of your own activities and experiences there, because I'm sure you're kind of sworn to secrecy, but I can imagine it must have been a very, very interesting time and a great way to start your career in London. And I'd like to start with my first question, Paul. Why is London a fantastic place for events and incentives?
Well, London has it all. London has everything, really, and other destinations would probably say the same, but we actually do. London is one of the best places to have an event, to have an attraction, to have people come and have their business events in our wonderful city. We are so diverse, cultured, we have history, we have pageantry, we have innovation, and lots of people and lots of companies look to London and Londoners to the future as well, with innovation and everything that 2021 is going to bring us.
How does a DMC add value to their clients' experience?
Well, working with a DMC, a lot of the time when we're looking at budgets or clients are looking at budgets, they may think that they can't afford it, or that maybe it's not, there's no value there. And I understand that. We all understand it as DMCs, and we have to overcome that, because the DMC knows the destination. The DMC knows the contacts, the infrastructure of the city. And then when you look at the client that comes and thinks that they know the city and realize that there are potential problems and that they have to overcome, it's who do you pick up the phone to solve your problem? Who do you go to? Who's your go-to person when you've arrived in your city with all your delegates and you don't have that safety net of a DMC? Also, DMC is also a creative element, working together, trying to work out what the objectives are, what the company objectives are, what their incentive program or their event or their actual, how do you want to make people feel when they leave? That's one of the things I used to say. It's not about what people see, it's not about what people experience as such, it's how they feel when they leave. And if we've made them feel that they've loved the city, we made them feel welcome, that's our job done.
Yes, and I think that whole emotional side and the feeling side of activities is really, really important. And I remember a study that you carried out as Site Global President with the team, looking at financial rewards in companies as opposed to experiences. And by far, the return on investment for companies organising incentive experiences outweighed the return that they got by cash incentives. And I think what I've always admired is that you have always been one of the first DMCs to create new experiences. And I think that's been absolutely key to your success, and it is obviously the key to the success of many DMCs, actually coming up with something original and unique. So what have been some of the most creative things you've done as a DMC that has added to the delegate experience?
Wow, it's a very open question, because we struggle with the word creative, to be fair. in our industry, because it's very subjective. What is creative to one person may not be to another. So that's when it comes to looking at what the achievements are for what they're trying to achieve for the incentive, so that we understand the demographic, what they like, what they don't like, what they've done before. But just one instance was when we did have a global client come to us and say we need to bond our global sales force, where not all of them could speak English very well. They were having some issues within the company. There's been some mergers and acquisitions, and they were bringing in a top sales force, top achievers for this big incentive program. Must have been about 60 people in a program of 400. And he said, I wanted to bring them together and so they can have a team building experience. Now that is also something that is very subjective. A team building, can be a treasure hunt, could be, as I said, about building bikes, all those kind of things, but they didn't want to do anything like that. And so we really did have a brainstorming session and thought that we would knock on the door of Abbey Road Studios and ask if they would potentially be, number one, just to go behind the scenes, which is also not open to the public, so that's great to do, but also a surprise event for them to really record a song all together, one of the Beatles tracks with a vocal coach. And Abbey Road were very open to it. They thought, well, why not? That's a good idea. The space is empty, nobody's recording right now. Site inspection went amazingly well. And again, it'd never been done before, so we were all in the dark, all of us. But that particular day when they turned up thinking they're going behind the scenes at Abbey Road, which is wonderful in itself, because it's not open to the public, as I said, but then be told this is all set up for a group coming in later and then going back into the room saying, oh, that group actually, it was you guys are going to sing. And of course, the language of song means it brought everybody together. So they had their experience emotionally, because it was amazing. It was videoed and played at the gala dinner. So it also had aspirations, because people were thinking, I want to be a top achiever. I'm going to make this the elite, the top 60 next time. And the CEO said, how are we going to top this? So that was one of my fuzzy moments, if you like.
And due to the current situation, safety is really the main factor, I would think, for short-term lead business. Clients, they need to decide, are they going to go fully virtual? Will they have a hybrid event? Are they going to completely delay their activity until the time is right? And it's important for us all in our industry in London to maintain this confidence that this business will come back to London, when we're ready. But what trends are you currently seeing, and how are you navigating these trends?
Well, the trends really do change an awful lot, but right now where we're at, it's difficult, and you can understand that companies have to decide how are they going to get together. They have to keep going. So the hybrid event potentially is something that a lot of people are looking at. So there could be a physical meeting somewhere, and then other people tap into that physical meeting where it's live streamed, and it's a short-term solution in my opinion, because I think people do want to get together, and getting together, meeting together, it's part of our DNA. It's what humans have been doing forever. We love getting together. We love chatting and just to drive solutions, to discuss. It's not easy doing this on a video screen or in a virtual environment, but we have to be ready for it and offer it. And because it's going to stay, I do believe it will stay. But what form will it take? Will people be traveling as much as they are? Will there be smaller groups with people can then tap in? Some people are more uncomfortable traveling. We have to think about that over the next 2 or 3 years to get the confidence levels back. But I do believe that wholeheartedly, the travel experience is going to win.
How can event planners ensure delegates still have an incredible experience at a hybrid and a virtual event? I know that you've been putting together some of your own promotional activity, reaching out to your clients in the world of virtual. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yes, we put together, from what I understand, as a first, another Spectra first, being the virtual fan trip. And that was in collaboration with Wild Goose. We put together something that would be very interactive with an app, and we literally got hold of many of our clients who weren't on furlough and were still active and working, and they joined this fan trip that we had on Zoom, and it was extraordinarily successful, and continues to be. So much so that one of our clients wanted to do an internal fan trip, and it consisted of going on a London bus and visiting various places while learning about the city and understanding new things. But they wanted to do that for their entire workforce and their clients. So we actually had a client that we had the sales executives and their clients with our incentive house just for them, and it's been a great success. It doesn't replace coming over and experiencing London yourself. We all understand that, but at least it keeps everybody in touch, and we're updating people on what's new, because there's still, our website is full of what's new. There have been new places that have been opening that haven't been able to open, but they will open eventually, and we'll be ready.
So what has made you proud then to be in London these past few months, and why do you think London loves events?
Well, as a Londoner, born and bred, I can actually say I'm very proud of my city, and always have been. It's a very emotional city for me, and I remember my grandfather took me years and years ago when I was probably about 8. We walked the entire steps of St. Paul's right to the top. And I remember looking out of the city thinking, this is just extraordinary and incredible. So I've always felt very close to the city. But London loves events because it brings people together. And that is so important because it fills the airlines, it fills the hotels, it fills the restaurants, the venues, and the tourist attractions, which actually then create jobs. We keep people in jobs. We're talking about the venues, we talk about venues, but there are catering companies, there are chefs, there are waiting staff, there are people that provide the cutlery, the linens. There are companies that do this all the time, and we bring everything together. And London brings all that together. So if you have an event in London, it's just one word as an event, there are so many elements to it that we're bringing people and creating, as you say, back to the economy, creating economic viability to have an event here, because everybody wins. Right now, nobody can do that, and that's the tough part of those people, like the linen people that provide the linens, the entertainment, the lighting. It's that we're all waiting and ready for the next event, and we want to welcome people to London as soon as possible, as soon as it's actually, we are all ready and waiting.